suddenly saw Alonzo. He was just lying there. It almost looked like he was still alive. She knew he wasn't, but he was just lying there so peacefully, almost as if he had fallen asleep in the creek. They were totally shocked that they actually found him on the property, that he hadn't been found yet. So she used the radio to alert Zoe's Uncle Edward and told Billy that they had found his little baby brother's body, and he ran over to the spot that he was. And when he got there, he said it just took everything in him not to run over and grab him, but they knew they had to leave everything untouched. And of course, as soon as they found Alonzo, they knew that something horrible had happened, that there had been foul play involved. And they knew that there was just no way that the search and rescue team and the cadaver dogs, the helicopters, all of that missed him right on the property.
There's a scripture in Proverbs that says, "Woe to those who devise iniquity and plot evil on their beds." And this scripture relates to the case of 23-year-old Alonzo Brooks. And there you see him on the screen right there. Alonzo Brooks attended a party with about 100 people in Cygne, Kansas in 2004. At the party, he was only one of 3 black people there. Now keep in mind, Cygne, Kansas, at this time has a population of about 93% white and only 0.67% black. Now at the party, there was allegedly some racial slurs thrown around, and it created some tension with Alonzo and some of the party goers. Now, similar to Nolan Wells, somehow all the people that Alonzo came with left, and they're saying there was some misconceptions of who Alonzo was going to ride back with. Long story short, at the end of the night, Alonzo never went home. He stayed about an hour away in Gardner, Kansas. And then his family came looking for him, and he stayed missing for a month. After all of the ladies said, the helicopters, the search team, the cadaver dogs, all of those people searched for him. And after the family didn't get any respite from those searches, they decided to form a search party themselves. And they were allowed to go to the property that the house party was on, and within 1 hour, they found his body on the side of the creek on top of some brush. So if there was ever a validated true search for his body, he would have been found. Or he was placed there after the search party came. Now, the coroner originally ruled that there was no injuries to his body and, no foul play or whatever. But in 2021, 17 years later, his body was exhumed, and they found out that he had wounds on his body not consistent with the normal decomposition of the corpse. Meaning, they ruled his death a homicide. Yet, despite a $100,000 reward to this day, still no one has been held accountable. I'm going to let you watch this brief video and summary of what the FBI said, why they didn't find him the first time. Just listen.
A homicide, and he, 20 years old, continues to haunt the family of the young man killed.
Alonzo Brooks was only 23. He was last seen in April of 04 in Cygne, Kansas. He lived in Gardner, a mile away from the scene. His family then found his body a month later after Watford's Pepper came up empty.
KCTV 5 Betsy Webster went to the scene for a closer look in tonight's PC Unsolved.
Alonzo Brooks came to a party at a farmhouse along the creek. And this is the creek that runs behind it, Middle Creek. You can see that it's shallow now, but the banks are high. Ever since his family found him in this creek, they have been asking, how is it that they could find him when a law enforcement search failed? The FBI now has an answer. it still hurts like it was yesterday. His sister, Esperanza Roberts, thinks often about what could have been. Alonzo's missed out on a lot, you know. He's missed out on having a life. You've missed out on seeing that. Alonzo had gone to a party at his house just outside of Cygne, Kansas. It was a big party in a small town with a population just over 1,000. When Alonzo had came home, his mom told authorities. The Lynn County Sheriff's Office eventually conducted a search, and the KBI couldn't find him. 3 weeks later, his family organized a search in the very same place. In just under an hour, they found Alonzo's body, partially on top of a pile of brush and branches in the creek. I think there's no way if they did an extensive search that they would have missed him. At least 100 people were at the party, possibly more. Alonzo was one of only 3 people of color, and the only person of color as the night wore on. There were reports about the fight. The initial interviews that were conducted and some of the partygoers talking about racial slurs being used. Special Agent Nina Romano was assigned to the case when the FBI reopened it in 2018, 15 years after the death. The original autopsy was that the cause of death was undetermined. In 2020, his body was exhumed from his gravesite in Topeka. A federal medical examiner took over with the help of a forensic pathologist. They found injuries inconsistent with normal patterns of decomposition. From that, they ruled that Alonzo's death was a homicide. She, too, was curious how the family's search succeeded after the law enforcement search failed. She researched the rise and fall of the creek connected to rain in that time frame, which would allow for anything that was trapped under the really large brush piles to become dislodged and rise to the surface. So it's possible he was trapped under a brush pile when the first search took place. Yes. The FBI is not releasing how he died. Their focus now is finding people who attended the party. Many were underage at the time. The hope is that as adults now, they'll be more forthright. You're older now, your parents can't do anything to you. Tell us what happened if you know something. Even something small, like names of people who were there. They may assume that we already knew that, but it's a new name and another individual that we can speak to. In the U.S. attorney reopened the case. Alonzo's father was hopeful. He's since died. The hope is still alive. I still feel that there are things that we can do that people we can talk to and advancements in technology that we don't even have right now that may be the key to solving all of this. We just have faith. We have faith that eventually we're going to find out what happened and we will get some justice.
Sounds like fresh fruit.
Betsy Webster, ACTV 5 News.
The FBI is offering a $100,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of anyone responsible for Alonzo's death. You can call the FBI at 81.
So we are supposed to believe that, his body might have been under the brush, but then when the tide came, that's when it rose back up. So how many times did y'all search the area? Did y'all just search one day and not come back? And see, this is how these things go. When the law enforcement, the sheriff, the State Bureau of Investigation, the Kansas Bureau of Investigation are all lock, stock, and barrel with the notion or with the ideology like, okay, well, he got out of line at the party. Hey, you know how we do it out here in Kansas? He had to go to the creek. 100 people. And he was the only black man there. Once again, he was 23. And then after he went missing, did anybody question anybody at the house? When his body was found, what type of questions were asked to the party goers or to the owner, right? How many people were at your party? Who do you know? We need names, we need addresses, we need, cellular activity wasn't as prevalent as it is now, but it was prevalent. MySpace, all of those things, there was social media back then too. So if they really wanted to investigate this case and see who killed that young man, they could have easily did it. But once again, the similarities to Nolan Wells' case can't be ignored. Once again, he was with some white friends. parties all left throughout the night separately. And then they say, well, no, it was a perceived misunderstanding on how he would be getting a ride home back to Gardner. Doesn't that, they was honest about it. Okay, it was a misunderstanding, right? Well, at least we can agree it was a misunderstanding. The people in Nolan Wells' case, well, no, he said he was going to stay out on the island. The girl said, no, he was going back with his friends. So they're not even admitting it was a misunderstanding. But the reason I'm showing all of these cases is to show that this is not a one-time thing. When talking about the death of Nolan Wells. I've put up several cases and several stories from the days he was found, which was like July the 6th. I've done, 10, 20 stories, and I have 10 or 20 to go. So this thing is a pattern where, once again, when we are in those spaces, when we are in those circles, and something happens to us, there's going to be a protection for the connection. And when the complexion is the whiteness, the protection is the judicial system, and the connection is the people and the families within that small town that will protect whoever did it. Because basically in small towns or something like that, everybody knows who did it. Because, when things like that, things happen like that, people can't keep silent. They can't keep silent. And so somebody definitely knew back then, and probably somebody knows right now. And just so you know, the scene, Kansas, and those rural frontier towns, even though it was a free state, still use intimidation and terrorization to terrorize blacks. And so once again, as I always mention, that energy, that spirit doesn't go anywhere. And in the back of that rural town, with those white kids drinking and a black guy got out of line, one of those old ancestral slave owners, KKK spirit, probably rose up amongst them, and they said, okay, this is what we're going to do. And everybody stay silent. And just like when all the white people in town gathered up and looked and saw a black person hanging by a rope and went home and ate dinner like nothing happened, that is the capability and the probability of what happened in this case. So rest in peace to Mr. Brooks. But once again, we have to watch our surroundings, especially when out of the way, in wide proximity with these peoples. As Psalms 1:1 states, blessed is the man who walks not in the way of the ungodly, or stand in the way of sinners, or sit in the seat of the scornful. So if you want to be blessed, don't continue to go to those places. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this video in the comments. Y'all see the number 919-587-7782. Thank y'all for liking, watching, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. As always, I pray you have peace and blessings.